All right, can you guys hear me now? I switched off the other
like
camera.
You will be able to. You put somebody in the chat on there.
Oh, I see. I'd hide that again. All right, can you guys hear me now? And I just gotta put the camera. Well, Eric's putting the camera back up. Okay, so I switched to the laptop. I don't know why my phone's doing that, but give me 1 second just to put that up and see if I don't get an echo. Hold on. Got it. All right, put the camera on.
Can everyone hear us?
They can hear on that. Put the camera on there, so I can switch the picture. Oh. All right, let me see. I'll put it in the show, but make sure. I think that's there. So now we gotta go over here.
I'm gonna take care of this.
Oh, you're running here? Hello, Shelby, Carolyn, Shadow. So
Should I
Donna.
remove this?
No, don't remove that because then they won't hear us.
Okay.
So solo layout, the little person in the corner of the picture down there. Oh, or do that. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, so now we can see the camera and you can hear me. All right, we're good. You want the phone for comments?
No, I'm gonna use this.
Well, I kind of need that for a minute.
No.
What are you gonna do?
Use the phone.
What?
Use the phone.
You're a little snot. He's like taking over, guys. It's the crafting night is all Eric. All right, so I was starting to say and talking to Eric that today was his last full week of school, right, Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you have a fun today in school? You had to take a board game in with you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get to play it or no?
Yeah.
So you played your board game?
Yeah.
Wow. Who played with you?
Bryant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. And then, so what do you have left? Now,
2 days.
2 days left, and then
1.5 technically.
1.5. Ah, and I heard you get to do some fun things the last 2 days, right?
Yeah.
And activities.
Yeah.
You've been bringing home your stuff, right?
I brought home all my stuff now.
Oh, all your stuff is cleaned out?
Yep.
Wow. And then what grade are you going to be in? 6th grade? No! You were just in kindergarten. What happened to you? Don't grow up. Please. Please don't grow up.
Not funny.
I'm not saying it's funny. I'm sad. My baby isn't a baby anymore. 6th grade. Oh, okay. I'm over it. Just kidding. So, anyways, what are you doing? Stop! I can't see. So tonight, you see on the table, we're going to do, it's kind of a 2-part project, and they kind of go together. We're doing some aging of paper to make it, obviously, and with coffee you could do, if you see on the table, there's some coffee staining that you can do. So there's a couple techniques that I'm going to show you and go over the way to dry it. Tonight I'm using an iron to dry it because otherwise it's an oven or a microwave, and that's kind of a little hard to do on the live. But we'll go over those things. Eric's going to do the rubbing with the coffee grinds, and there's also a tea bag method. And then we'll put that aside. I have some made already, so I won't have to dry everything. Oh, that's a big yawn. And then we're going to put together a vintage mini scrapbook. You're tired.
I want to go to bed.
You want to go to bed?
I want to go to my room and just watch TV until it's bedtime.
Oh my! Are you feeling okay? You if you're really tired, I will let you go. If you're tired, you had a long day. You're up early. That's okay. You can go if you like. You don't want to do it?
No, I do, but I'm just tired.
Do you want to do a little bit with us?
I guess I'll just do one.
You're gonna do the rubbing?
Yeah, I'm just gonna do one.
You okay? You know what? I'll make the book. You could do the rubbing. You little sneak. Not in. Yeah, for an hour. All right, but. All right. Donna said hi, Carolyn and Kimmy and Eric and Shelby. Woo woo. All right, let's get this started for this little boy. Let me move you guys over here so you guys can hear me. No, wait, you gotta wait. You're gonna miss a step because you can't just touch it yet.
What?
Yeah, what? It won't work.
But it is.
So, all right. I'm not sure if I can see the comments. Could you find my live on here for me? Wait, I can do it. Let me put the phone by here so I can see you guys.
Stuff by yourself.
Anybody that is on Facebook watching, I am connected to Facebook, guys. So, if you're watching on Facebook, I don't see the comments until after the live. So if you would like to say something or have me read it, hop over to the YouTube channel. The link is on my YouTube page, on my Facebook page. Let's get that right. You can click the link there and come over, hit that sub button, and thumbs up would be appreciated.
Oh, we say that at the end.
I'm saying for Facebook, honey.
Oh, Facebook.
Sheesh, I'm gonna let Eric run the show.
Yeah,
there we go.
I should more often.
You can. So, but I am on the Facebook, just so if there's people there watching and everybody knows. So that I think we covered that. Eric's trying over there. He's trying, but
it works. See?
Yeah, but you're not doing it right, honey. You still didn't tape it down. You missed like a whole bunch of steps. Let me. All right. So I know I got them over here for you. We're not going to use those. All right. So let me show them.
Can I have one?
So these, I'm going to show you. Yeah, hold on. These Eric is using for this size index cards. They are a little thicker, and they work good. So can I have one of these? So they're just white index cards, and you guys can see that they're different color when we're done. You can use any stencil as long as they are the silky plastic kind. Nope, don't use paper because you can, but then it will be a one-time use if you use paper. You also need painter's tape or masking tape. Masking tape will work. What you're going to do is you're going to tape it down, especially if you have a young kid or a child. You want to tape all four sides down like this. Cut the painter's tape, and I have it over here hanging. The painter's tape is thick, so obviously you don't need it that thick. And to save on it, you're going to cut thin strips. What I usually do is hang it onto a table and one end, and I just go and I cut strips straight up of it. And then this way, you don't cut all the way to the end. Just cut up to where it's hanging on the table for them. And you can rip one line off at a time. Well, that's what Eric's doing. And that way, you don't get it all sticking. It doesn't stick together everywhere. It doesn't need to be perfect. But you put it on the bed. But you should be able to get like 4 lines out of it. 4 strips out of one thick piece of painter's tape. Masking tape does work too. I say the painter's tape. I'm pretty sure masking tape doesn't do it. Maybe some paper, but the painter's tape won't rip your paper. So, see, you still didn't. You got to put some water in there to wet them.
No,
because it's not going to come out dark enough.
Look, what do you think?
So when you color the paper, it's going to blend in, honey. All right, we're going to let him see his theory. But for a child, like I said, you're going to tape all the sides down. And you want to make sure, say I goofed. You're going to make sure that it's tight to your paper. So that way, when you do it, you're only getting the sections. And if you're not, it's going to lift and go underneath, and you're not going to get the right design. If you're an adult and you've done this, or you're confident, you can just tape the corners down. And that way, and you have to hold it tight when you do this. So obviously, if you tape just the corners, you would hold it. But as you go along, just make sure you're holding. You still have to do that kind of with your shape, but you want to make sure it's flush to the paper. So these are coffee grinds. You're just going to save when you make coffee. Don't throw your pods out. You just open them up.
Or bags.
Or bags?
Yeah, sometimes coffee grinds are in bags.
What bag? That's a tea bag.
Yeah, tea bag.
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about the coffee pods. Your coffee pods.
It's the same thing, okay?
No, it's not. Tea bag's different method, but it's okay. So you just open them up,
and why are we using tea
and
bags?
you could leave them in a. I didn't do that yet. You're like 10 steps all over. So you save them. They don't go bad. You can open it and put it in a container, but they are going to dry up. So you add just a little bit of water because you don't want them sopping wet or soaked. So once you wet them, now they're like a paste. And this is fun. Like if you're doing something and you want the kids to craft while you're doing your pages, for what I'm going to show you in a minute, the kids can do this. It's a sensory tool. It's fun, you know. So you're going to put some on your fingers, and you're just going to go through. I usually use one, and just start using your finger and rubbing it into that. The harder you rub, the darker you're going to get it. So you just keep doing it. You could do a light way just to go through first if you want, but just go through and rub. Have it on me. Once it kind of starts not doing it, just grab more. The wetter. You just want it moist enough to make the color. It's okay if some goes under because it's going to block it. So then you're going to see it when we lift the stencil, and I'm going to show you what you do with that next. So just go around and fill in your shape. And it's kind of like coloring. It's okay if it rubs harder and you kind of get some paper lifting. That's kind of what the grinds are doing. It's like exfoliating. But it's just going to give an aged more look to the paper. So just get it working in there. So that's what those clumps are as they're clumping. The grounds are stuck in with the paper. And then you can just do that. Brush, you could do it. Then I got the little ball up here. Eric's doing the word circus with the looks like a movie
Like
film.
one of those like films you would see.
It's like like film back in the day when they developed with the lines or that's a pad on the top. All right. So you do that. Like I said, the more you rub and you can do another layer, the darker it will become. You want it to be dark because of the next step. And the grounds just really wipe off. Before you do that, you should do this. But
I know, but most of them are stuck literally in this.
That's okay. So then, you're going to remove the painter's tape. I should have said that too. I overlap my painter's tape in the corner.
See, look.
And nope, that's going to come right off. Don't touch it because then you will ruin it.
What?
But watch the next step. You could go like this, but see how I still have some stuck on there? That's okay, but don't touch it with your finger. So if you have that, which is fine, but if you rub it, you're going to smear your shape. So watch. It's going to be like magic.
Use painter's tape.
No.
That's smart, though.
I use a dry sponge. When you're on a towel, you can just brush up the grinds. Then you keep shaking the spot that I just brushed. I love them dearly. Thank you. Stop it. Stop it. I gotta get you, little boy. He's being silly. All right, so let's just move that out of the way. All right, now I do have a cookie sheet and I have a lid. Anything with the lip to it. I need to he's on a roll. With a lip, you're just gonna do that. You have to do it over here because they need to see. So what you're gonna do is, are you doing yours coffee or are you scrubbing it? What?
I don't know.
Do you want to use this method or the tea, the coffee?
Which one's lighter?
They're both.
That one.
Okay. Here is the coffee that I brewed. I put it in a bowl. For these, you're gonna take a scoop and just pour it right on top of it, and you see the grounds just moved, but it didn't ruin your design. Oh, I love that you got some a little darker. So you only need like a scoop or two. You don't need it much on here, and then you're just gonna go around. You can pick it up just so I can show you. You see, already it's dying, and you can see your design. And it brushed off. When it dries, these little dots will come right off. The longer you leave it sitting in the coffee, the darker it will get.
The more aged.
The more aged. Oh, okay.
You should say the more aged it gets.
Yeah. So you can leave it like for a day. You could leave it 20 minutes, whatever darkness you want.
You can leave it for 48 hours.
Sure. After
which
a
is
certain
2
point.
days.
But what you can do too is after it dries, if you want it darker, you could redip it. The thicker the paper, obviously, it's not going to tear. copy paper, which I'm using tonight, you have to be gentle because it will tear, but I also have techniques that I want to show the edging of. So, but you can automatically see.
Okay, you can put that down and I'll swap it.
You could automatically see that it's darker. Swap it with what?
Do you want to do that one?
Yeah, but we don't need more coffee. So you can see the difference already in the color, guys. So then you still have, I'm going to put this over here. And I'm going to show you how you can dry that quick. And this one, you want to do this one? You want to put this in? You don't need the coffee, just put it in. Swish it under. Good. You can still use the same coffee. Some it does absorb it after, then you could add more if need be. Are you doing the other one?
No. I'm tired.
Then you may go. You may go. Huh?
I said thank you.
You're welcome. All right, so let me get my towel since he's gonna go do his thing. We can go through. Where did I put my phone? I took you away, guys. Sorry. All right.
Bye, guys.
Eric's a little tired tonight, so we're gonna let him go.
I'll see you next live.
All right, buddy. He had a long day. All right, so with these, like I said, the coffee grinds just come right off. You just put it face down, and then it will come off. And there's the seal. Make sure you get all the spots so you don't have any white. And the longer, like I said, it sits, don't worry about the grinds. Sometimes those, why are you knocking? I can't. I see you. I don't know what you, sorry, guys. If you want the grinds, you can leave it too. That is an aged effect, but they will crumble off. But you can also leave them there, and when you dry it with the iron, they kind of toast in and give it another effect. There's so many things you can do. You can put down rice on it and then leave the sheet there and put the coffee and don't move the rice, and you'll get little speckles or little beads. You can put things as long as they sit, they go on top and not move. They'll leave your pattern. So you have that. I'll let them know, guys. That you can let them sit in air dry and let them just dry on its own. And they actually, the thinner the paper, the quicker they're dry, because I did a whole bunch earlier. Or, like I said, you can do this. Now, if you do a stack, which I'm going to show you how I do that in a little bit, any excess I just pour back because obviously you're not going to use that coffee for anything. I'm going to show you how I do a stack of papers. That will be where you could do the oven when you do a stack. But these, if you want to dry them quicker, you're just going to take some paper towel now and pat them, or the towel I have. Just pat up, and it takes up that excess water. And actually, you can feel the difference from patting them, that they're not as sopping wet. So just pat them. You can use a towel or a paper towel. And now they feel wet still, but they're not as like soaked. So you're going to take an iron, and the first time you go over it, you're going to go gently and just glide quick. You're going to do a couple passes like that. I'm stuck. Let me bring my wire. There we go. Just go a couple passes very lightly over on the high setting. Oh, my iron's not on. Hold on. It says it's on. I'll put it in. All right, wait a minute. All right, let that heat up. I don't know what happened. It has an automatic timer. While that's doing that, and I will show you how to dry those in a second. Let's hit this so it can be sitting for me, because I'm going to be using these for other things that I'll be making. So I don't mind making more. Obviously you don't want to sit here and do piece by piece. That would take a long time to dye paper. If you want a lot of it. If you're only doing a few sheets or designs like that, then yeah, you're going to do them singly. But if you want to do, say, a stack, I wouldn't do a stack this thick. I would break it up and do maybe 10 to no more than 20 sheets at a time on a tray. But you could do obviously more. But in a pile, I would do probably 20, no more than 20 sheets. So you're going to use a cookie sheet. And let me bring that over. You're going to have a cookie sheet. And you're going to put your stack in the middle. And then you're going to take your coffee and put your scoops on it. You don't need to bury it in there. You need enough to cover it, a thin layer, to be able to slosh it around. When you're doing singles, you could use a paintbrush if you're doing a single sheet. But here you just want to sup and then use your fingers. Be very gentle because it still could tear, obviously. So that's why you also don't do singles. I did it testing it out because I haven't done it in a while. But you just want to make sure, and you want to pat. You can do very gentle, and it's okay if you do rip them because that gives it another effect. You just want to see if it's going through. And it will. You got to let it work in. Because obviously you can see it. My center isn't there yet. But you can just keep pushing. And pick it up when it's in the water area, not loose. When it's at a dry spot, because that also will help prevent tearing. And just push. Like push it a couple times to get that paper sopping in. And you can see when you're pushing, you can see it coming up. So obviously I know that the coffee is working through all the layers. And that's why I said you don't need a lot. You can move it around. Now this you would let it soak to your darkness. Now you can see it's getting through. The longer it sits, that will seep up. The longer you leave it, the darker you're going to get it. But also when it dries, this method, it will darken up in the oven. So once you do that, I'm going to let it sit. You will pour your any liquid left over when you're done letting it sit back in. So there's none on the tray. Then you put this whole thing in the oven on your lowest temp your oven goes to. And you do start with 10 to 15 minutes and then check on it. And what it's going to do is dry your paper. And it's kind of cool because then all of a sudden, as it's drying in the oven, all your little sheets are going to start crinkling up and separating on its own as it dries. That's the cool part. And you just check it. If there's any wetness, keep it in the oven and watch it. And your ends will kind of start like when you crispen up a thing of meal that you're cooking and the ends starting to get crispy and brown. That's kind of what the paper will do. So that's one way you can do multiple stacks of this. And I will show you what it does look like when it's done. And I will show you, let me get one of these. The same thing, let me make sure that's hot now. The same way I'm going to do the those cards and the rubbing is I'm going to take one, see how it is very, very, obviously it's wet. And the computer paper, the regular white paper, is thin. So when it gets wet, but it's going to dry crisp. So I'm going to take one sheet very gently and put it on my towel. And yes, you can do it right away for drying. So this is cool if you need one piece of paper. I did this when I made Eric's pirate party. And I made invitations. And I only needed a couple. So again, just gently pat your paper. Believe it or not, the paper towel takes up some of that moisture and dries it for you when you're doing one. And then flip it over. And I don't mind the coffee grinds. That's why If you do, then just clean your spot better. But when you do these, they just wipe right off. Sometimes they'll make a streak and you'll get some darkening lines. That's really kind of a cool effect. You could take your finger and do that with the paper. I can show you just a little grind. If you want a little more age to it, just do it gently, and then you could get little darker spots. You could go around and do just the edges. So it's darker. But be careful when you're doing that. Make sure you pat it dry first, because that takes the moisture out, because otherwise you will tear it doing this step. But and just go around, and you can age it up a little. You can go like this. And that way it darkened it. Like I said, those are going to dry right off. So now, my iron is hot. Gently do one time and let it sizzle. And then this way. Pressing very, very lightly. The iron's barely on it. It's touching it, but it's not being hard. You're going to go over it. It's literally toasting that paper and taking that water right out right now. But you don't want to press. You're gliding it over. Then you're going to flip it over, and you're going to do the other side. And you guys can see the difference. And I'll hold it up again after. But from that side to this side is lighter. But I'll hold it up when it's a little not crinkly. You'll see. Then flip it over and do that again on this side. Very lightly. Push it over. Glide it over. It's now drying that paper. Okay. Once you start, you're going to see a wrinkle start forming. That's where your paper is starting to dry. Once you see that, now you can press. Go in circles and press that paper and watch the magic happen. You see it start crinkling. You're crinkling and aging your paper more. And it's all right if you get creases in it. That just gives, again, more age and more texture to it. I put my phone somewhere. Hello, MZ. How are you? So there you go. So you're going to do that. And then you can hear it. Look, it's crunchy. I put a hole in mine because I didn't clean my table. So just keep going over that. And you see how it's curling up now? Can you hear it? And that's not what computer paper sounds like. So obviously you hear that that crinkly paper, kind of just like when you aged, or a piece of paper aged from having it so long. A few little swipes. I'll put that over there with the liquid. Put that up here for a second. And now your paper is dry. And there's your aged paper. And again, like I said, the longer you leave it, the darker you'll get it. And now actually it feels like it's a little stronger. So then when you need it, you can make a card out of it. You can make a vintage thing. You can do anything with these. I know I have a book of shadows when I did mine. And I made all my pages like this. You can buy it, but it does cost. Hello, Miss Peggy. Eric's tired. He's resting. But he did one thing. So when I did my book of shadows, instead of buying this type of paper and being crafty, I wanted to make my own book. And I bought a leather bound and decorated it. And I aged my paper. And I'm going to show you how you can bind it into a book. And you put all your pages. And now you have, aged paper. Now with these, the same thing. See, they're drying already, basically. You can literally wipe those coffee grounds right off. Okay, so same technique. When you pat them, These are thicker. You can kind of go right over them. They've been sitting. And you see, as soon as I hit that iron, it starts to curl. Because this is thicker, it doesn't crinkle as much. But I did these. These are great. Okay, yeah, actually, I'll show you. This is what he did. I was holding up. He did this one. That's the one Eric did. The thicker the paper, you're not going to get that crinkly effect. What I was saying is these are cool. Like if you have a baby's room and some people have that antique finish or that, you're into those colors of the browns and neutrals and you have a stencil of your theme, you can take these, especially on these white jumbo cards or cardstock cut. Now you can do this and you can frame it. So if it had a circus theme in your kid's room, and you could put this and then matching stencils instead of buying those expensive pictures they sell in some of those stores or anywhere that you want to put on your wall that you're only going to leave there for a year for the baby's room or a year at their age and you're always changing. You can do these. I did that with Eric's Legos and went to Dollar Store and bought little Lego boards that they had and their Legos. And I made abstract designs on the mini Lego boards and put a little mini purse in there and then put a hook on the back. And that went on his wall. Have you ever seen the price of the Lego designs that you could do that with? Are so expensive. And I created mine for nearly nothing. So whoever thought you could iron paper, right? But like I said, if you have any type of, you could do this for an adult. Get beautiful stencils out there. And you can get, whatever stencils that you like or flowers. And, if you have a cream room, a neutral room, whatever thing that these would match, you get the size of the paper you want, the stencil, tape it down as I showed you, and then rub it to get your pattern, and then age your paper. And then you find that pretty frame, that antique look frame or a nice gold frame, whatever your theme is, and you can make your own. Ooh. Oh, my neighbor's dogs got loose. I saw 2 dogs running. So then they're nice and toasty. Now, if I wanted this darker, I could go over it and do it more. I could still go over it with the coffee grounds and now just age the top if I want. Like I did the stencil. If I want to, like I said, just the border. I could just go, to give it more color. Oh, thank you. I won't, but thank you for looking out. I scared Miss Peggy. So, now that she said it, watch, I'll do it now. No. All right. So, all right. So these aren't perfect. I'm not here to do it. I'm showing you different techniques. So I'm just using the ones that I have to show you what you can do to them. So, but you could do it, like I said, I did a quick border. When you're doing that, obviously you don't need to dry it because that's just the rubbing. So you, like I said, you could do a round and then it just kind of brought it out. So you have that. I actually love Eric's that he got, I don't know how, but the coloring came out like a burgundy color in there, the way his did. The way he rubbed it and he went dark. Just how it picked. Oh, I know what it is. I mixed tea. And I bet he got some of the grounds from the tea. And so his came like that because I threw some loose tea into the coffee grounds, not thinking. So you're close to it. I was worried too. Oh, thank you guys. Thank you. I moved it. It's over there. the technique like that, I'm going to just move this so I don't knock this over. So like this is just going to sit and absorb. I may put another scoop on here. Coffee, because that did absorb it. So, and I want it to sit a little longer. So, and like I said, later, I'm going to take this. Earlier I did, and I'm going to show you those because we're going to use those in a minute. I'm going to get these darker. And to dry these, instead of, I mean, you can, because I did it for about 10 sheets. And I peeled them up, and I laid them out over the tray around, even though they were still lapping. So they were separated already. And they started drying on their own. And I ironed each one. It does go quick ironing them. But if you have a bad back like me, or, can't stand, it's time consuming to just, dry each one. Because if you push too hard, you're going to rip the edge and all that. So I'm going to put that on the floor where I won't kick it. All right. So that's there. So that's one method. So you're going to put that in your oven, and the lowest temp you have, start out with 10 to 15 minutes. My raspberry tea is pinkish. Oh, that would be really pretty. Yeah, so different teas have different colors to it. So that's where I was going. And you can get different effects. I just wasn't remembering I added tea there. So try different methods if you're doing that with different teas, and you'll get, obviously that image, that coloring come through. It's cool to mix them. I used to do this with Eric, like I said, with the rubbings when I was doing a project and he wanted to do it with me and I didn't have something, or he wanted to do what mommy was doing, craft. And I'm so like a perfectionist that I didn't want him, obviously doing mine, and he couldn't understand. And some things he wasn't able to do, even though he wanted to. So I would find things like this, like when I'm scrapbooking and I was making each paper, obviously he would have teared my whole pile, right? So I gave him the grounds and did exactly like that. I just taped down the stencils, showed him what to do. He loved it, like I said, the sensory of it and the feel on his hands. Kids love it. He just went to town, and I had them all ready, so I didn't have to stop what I was doing. I had them all taped down, gave him the coffee grounds, and went through. Hello, Hannah. And obviously the kids don't want to be waiting for it to dry like a stack. So you can iron it. You can put it in the microwave. I haven't done that. I have seen it all over. I haven't tried it. But the microwave, I would imagine you do the same thing, but you'd have to put it in for maybe a minute or more and dry it out. So you just have to test that. This is hot water. I don't know how hot it is. Oh, still. The tea bag, you're going to do like you're making tea. And just steep it. I'm tangled here. So I'm going to let that sit for a minute. Tea bag, you can't open it and do it the way I did. And you can save the grounds. Can't keep them for too long because coffee grounds will get moldy, even if it's an airtight container. It's just coffee grounds. But like I said, you save your pod when you make it. Open up the top, dump it in. And you didn't waste anything if you're just using the grounds. I'm using the whole coffee, so I made the pot and then used the grounds for that technique. With the tea bag, while we wait for that to steep for a minute, let that go. So we have those. Where's my samples? Here we go. So the other thing that you can do once they're done and stuff to age it a little bit more, like I did for the pirate. That one sits. Got it. I made him a pirate party, like I said, and I made treasure maps for his invitations. Let me just show you that on these little papers. Oh, got some white in here. Eric did this one last night. That's one effect, how I did the edges. Now my edges are darker, but there's a way I did that. And then here's a turtle I did. I think it's so cute. Obviously we did a fish, ice cream cone. You can fold them before doing them on there and do them like this and fold your card, your piece of paper into a card. Do your pattern here that will fit. And now you have a birthday card or a card to send to somebody. Eric made these for the teachers. So there's a dolphin. So those you can, like I said, you can mount. And these are the papers that I made. Why do I got all these other wood ones? And if you get a stain in your paper, you don't have to throw it out. Do this. You don't waste it. But see, some of them are going to tear. That just actually gives it more of that effect too when you're making this type of book for the vintage. But say you got one like this. Obviously, this is not a kid-friendly thing to do right now. But you're going to take a lighter and you're going to burn your paper. You're going to do slowly sections and let it go for a minute. If you have your iron by, you can just wipe it out. It will still go when you're seeing that red. Just take your iron and go right over it, and it puts it right out. If you're still seeing the red in your paper, my camera up a little. If you're still seeing the red in your paper is going to keep on going. It's still burning it. So you want to blow, after you blow it out, you need something to stamp on. So that iron, I just hit it with the iron. You can keep a brick, something that won't catch fire. Obviously, don't do your hand, and just push it down on it. And it's going to make a pattern for it. Then you're just going to do that. But like I said, you want to do this in small sections because it's also going to kind of go down itself. And you want it to go in. You want it to do different shapes. So, and around my corner. So let it go. Blow it. Blow it out. That one I made too wide. And then I'm just going to go. Now, the ashes, and the longer you get, and depending on how it burns, you're going to get spots like this that are darker, which is awesome. Because then you could just take your finger and go around and rub it if it does that. Or you can pop them off. And when you do that, you can just take your finger and it's going to darken your edges. So, and that's why I said it's okay if you tear them. I thought you could see me, but I wasn't. So, because I was burning it. When you're doing your edges, like here, I have a tear. Go to that side. That's pretty neat because you can go and light it and hold it open and let it burn in there. And then you get a Y effect. You don't have to also burn everything. If you don't want to go around, you could just do spots. So you can just do over here and let that piece burn. And then you could have, whatever way pattern design that you want. So you could leave that there if you don't want it. But then, because that looks like it's just, now you got the brown edging, you can just take your coffee grounds again. And lightly, very light, just go around the edge, not like I did on that picture, just brush outward like that. Like how. So if you're going to do an edging, just put a little on your fingers like this, and now you're going away from you. So go away. Does that make sense? So a little bit of coffee grounds, and you can do it where you burnt it too. Just a little on your fingers and brush it out. So it just ages your ends a little more, and matches it. So then it's not so blunt there. So I'm just using that one as a model. So like here we made the border, or on the one of them. This one I burnt all around, and it got, the longer you leave it, the more you're gonna get of the darkness. So you can get aged areas. Just play around with it and do what you choose. You know, it's your what you want. And that's the fun part when you're making things. Instead of buying it, you're hello, Cammy, and CPR. It's your art, it's your design. That's the fun part. Like I was saying, you say you see the seal picture in the store. You absolutely love it. It's too expensive. You don't want to spend the money on it. You love it. You really need it. No. Well, I bet for a third of the price you can make it. If it's something like this, say. And you have a picture frame that you're just dying to change that picture. You can do something like this. I mean, there's so many things that you can do. I've repurposed, growing up in this house since I was 2. I have repurposed so many pictures in this house for my mother that she had beautiful pictures of butterflies, but the frames were so outdated. The print was outdated, kind of. And instead of getting rid of them, she was attached, I took the picture frame apart. I rematted it. It was a gold tone butterfly picture. I'll have to show you guys one time. They're in her room, and then it had a mauve brown mat, and then the dark wood picture frame. And I literally just got a sea green picture mat, and rematted it, and then put it in a cream ivory. I used the same frame. I painted the frame ivory. So it really, I didn't even buy them, but I used cardstock and made my own photo mat. And bam, this looks like a night and day picture. Now it looks more modern to update it. So I just updated what I had in the house. So sometimes you don't have to spend money to update things. It costs very little to do it. Hello, Clint. Another one is I had a giant picture frame I got at a dollar store. For $1 at a tag sale. And it was gorgeous. And those big frames go for quite a bit if you go to the store to get them. And my aunt had given my mom this beautiful picture again. She got, I think, at a tag sale. My mom and her loved going tag sales. And it had a very thin, those thin plastic frames that usually are black. Well, it had a green, thin plastic frame to it. And it made the picture look cheap, but the picture was so gorgeous. And I found that frame, didn't know what to do with it. And I did the same thing. I painted the frame, the ivory color. And then I took a little bit of that green, because her room is green. And I kind of took my finger and lightly kind of added it into the cream paint around the frame. And then I rematted it and put that picture in there. What a difference again. It just totally changed right before your eyes. And my mom was in love. And it saved money having to go and get, spend a bit of that. You go to buy a picture, you could be easily, if you want something that's quality, a decent picture, something that, and the bigger you go, the more they are. I mean, sometimes just even for an 8x10, you could spend $35 and up. And then you're in the hundreds when you want these large prints. And you don't have it all the time. And you want to pick me up. Like I said, I've lived in this house since I was 38 years. Yeah, obviously, we've had different changes of furniture, but you see some of the pictures that you have loved and it matched your decor, you don't want to get rid of. You said to just give it a facelift. And I've done it on so many things around here. And I've had so many people comment and say, where'd you find that? Oh, where'd you find that? And they've been in my house so many times that they didn't even recognize that it was still the same object. So that's just, just a quick thing to keep in mind. Think before you toss or get rid of. Now, what I wanted to show you, so that's the paper. You can dye doilies, guys. One thing, or you can put this doily down on white paper, which you can actually, the doily's hard, but see, I didn't leave it in, but you can see the color. You can do, and I've done it, but it's very tricky. If you have a lace table cover, they are very hard to find. I don't know if anybody knows it and remembers what I'm talking about, but back in the day, they had table covers that were lace, but they were not real lace. They were that plastic lace. And I have some, and I know another lady that does this. And anytime she can get her hands on plastic table lace covers from a store, a tag sale or whatever, she will grab them because they are so rare to find. And I'm lucky to have them. And you can literally, again, because it's like a stencil, take that and you're going to put your paper under it, and you're going to pick. Sometimes there's different spots for the on the table cover. There's different patterns on it out of the lace. So you can just move your paper around and pick the section that you like, and you're going to lay that there. And that's where you can do the rubbing, or you can do this technique. Or you could just do lightly putting the coffee on it, as long as it's light, where it's not going to seep through the holes. And you're going to get a beautiful lace piece of paper. That's more if you've done this for a while. But if you have those plastic table covers that were lace back in the 80s and 70s, don't get rid of them. There's so many things you could do with those for craft projects. The tea bag, let me just show you that quick before I move on. The tea bag is more fun too with it. You can take a paintbrush and paint too, guys. I didn't do that technique. You could dip it right in your coffee and just paint your paper, and it'll give it a tint. And if you just want to age it a little, again, it's on your preference of how dark you want, how aged you want it. But the tea bag, you're just gonna let it seep like you did, and I had it, and now you got a tea bag. And the harder you push, the more it comes. The kids like this because it's like painting, and then it's a different color. You could do this on the stencil too, instead of rubbing. Tape down your stencil. But you want to go up and down and do the same lines. I was just doing it. You don't want to go all over because then it's gonna come through like that. But kind of just like a paintbrush. Just go straight down. Don't worry about those browns. And I aged it really quick. And as they dry, they'll come off. And that way your paper's not soaked either. This dries fairly, see, white and aged. And if you have, say you printed something on the paper and it was a nice logo, but it's stock white, you want to age it, you can do that with the ground just to give it a little age to it. Hold on, guys, you're dying on me. You're dying. I charged my phones today. I can't tell you how many times. Literally. And I have been on them. And I can't tell you how fast my batteries are going. It's amazing. All right. We plug you in. So the tea bag is a way to do something really quick. You just don't get that crispness to it. What I mean that with the coffee, you get no lines because it's doing itself. It's going. The tea bag, you have to obviously put and go one direction. And you can go the more over it, it's going to get darker. If you let it sit and then go back over it, you're going to get it darker. You can go darker in different spots. You have a little more control with it. If I want to do darker lines, I can push a little harder to get it a little darker. I can rub it with my finger then and see what smears. Then you got those browns. But it doesn't saturate your paper, but then I can see where I missed some. So. But I don't like the tea bag. You can't get multiples. They do rip, which is fine. You can still keep using it until, it disintegrates. But you really can only get like one piece of paper out of a tea bag. So to me, it's not practical. It's not, you don't get much out of it. So if you're doing a lot, you're not going to want to do the tea bag. The tea bag works, like I said, if you want to do a certain stencil on there, you can do it. It's not going to come out dark, but you don't have to always do them dark. But it also just ages something quick. Say I need an extra piece for my book. I put everything away, but I need one more sheet. Count it wrong or something. You can just go and age one real quick. And obviously, do this. And you can see the difference in color. So, and you can also do it in tea. Like I said, you can do the coffee technique, and you can see that has the reddish color to it compared to the tea, to the coffee. And you'll get a whole different color for dyeing your pages. And one last time, this is not as wet, so I don't have to pat it. Just go over it a few times. You do a circle. This is harder, so you can just obviously go over it hard. And you can start seeing it curl up. And the longer you do it, the more that it's going to curl too. So if you have something that you're doing and it's bigger, and it's a bigger cardstock, the more you did it, I had to do that. I did it with the turtle earlier. The more curl edging you're going to get from it. And you get a different effect with the cardstock from the regular paper. But you also get something different out of that. And, oops. So, but you can see the lines, and it's kind of cool either way. They're like you're gonna have all different things and ways that it's gonna come out because you're aging a paper. And does paper age the same? No. So, all right. So my fun part that I've been waiting to do, guys, my journal, and I stuck with the theme tonight being antique. That's one that I worked on, but I have everything over here. We need that. We'll need that. I'm just getting my piles. I had everything set out. All right, so what you need to make a journal is a cereal box. You can't use cardboard, it's too thick. So you're going to need a cereal box or any box of that food came in, any size that you would want. This was a popcorn box. And so this obviously has a wider binder. So you want to look at the side and see what size binder it would become if you want it thinner. The thicker the binder, obviously, the more pages you're going to be able to put in it. But also is going to be threaded differently. But that's one I just chose and covered. And I didn't do the inside anyways. I was playing with it because I came up with a different idea. So that was the popcorn box. So that gives you a thicker binder. I did a cereal bar. I don't know what Eric did with it. Here it is. This one, oh no, that was the Velveeta. And mine, Velveeta cheese. It's going to give me a thinner bind. But then the real skinny one, this was fruit bars. It's a little skinnier one. And you're going to open up your box, lay it flat, and you're going to cut off all the flaps around it. You're going to cut off only one side of these. So then you end up like this. Then you can cut it down. This was obviously a long box. You didn't have to cut this side off on these. You could cut it right down the middle and get two out of it. Do not do this. This is a cereal box. If you want a real big one, you use a cereal box, which would be cool. When you're trimming them, though, After you get that, you want to go make sure both sides are obviously even now. So when you fold it, that they come out together. Do not, and I did this to show you, do not fold that flap, this flap, down and try to measure them. Like, just fold it down and you think, oh, they match, and go and cut it and try to trim it. Because then what you're going to have is, now your back is going to be shorter than the front. And there's no way to fix it because you're going to get shorter and shorter. And after that, you just have to start over. So this is a good way to use your cereal boxes or boxes around. We're going to use this one. And I have my stuff all ready to go. So I chose these two pieces of paper. Here's my glue stick. Did I put it over there? I just had you. Oh no, guys. Runaway glue stick. That's my paper. That's my templates. Those are my design. I literally just put you guys roll on the floor. Oh, it's standing up right in front of me. All right. So I chose these two pieces of paper. That's going to be my inside. I'm going to show you. And I thought that was kind of neat, vintage looking. So with these, you want to take your binding and you want to lay it there. You want to have an inch from each side. So an inch and a half from here to here, and then you're going to obviously have to cut two sides. What I like to do is put glue on my cardboard. I just glue it all up. You can use two-sided tape and go around the edges with your two-sided tape, you know, to give it an extra security. Or you could just do, since this is a small one, you can do it. If I was advising and making a bigger one to glue the box, I would glue it in sections and put your paper down and use a credit card to smooth it out. That way you have no air pockets and no creases, and it goes on because it's a larger box. With the small ones, all you got to do is put the glue like I just did and go about an inch from the top and an inch in from one side, and then just go and press your paper. Now, I have my ruler right here. And now it does not need to be, I'm not even going to worry about that. You don't have to have it exact on all sides because that part is not going to matter. But you don't want to leave it that thick. So you're just going to go and cut off and leave like an inch, like I said. It doesn't have to be perfectly straight because you're not going to see it. If it was straight, I would be using my cutting thing. And also save these. There's a reason. Save that thicker, even this one, and you'll see. So now, just going to push down. Then you're going to go back, and you don't want to cut. Well, you can. You can cut these now, your corners, right exact like that, and you're making a square. And that's going to help you fold it without a bulk. So you're going to do that to all four corners. And I'm going to show you why that's a big thing. Because otherwise you're going to end up with a big clumpy corner when you fold it. And it's going to be higher and not as like the others and flat. So it's basically just cutting a little square. So your corners look like this. Now, I'm going to take your glue stick and run it right down on that line, right on that piece of paper. And now it should be easy. Go make sure you got your fingers right up against that cardboard and go and run it down and crease it and then fold. Now you know that you got it tight up to that line and you're going to fold it real tight, and it's going to make a nice, beautiful corner. Did I do what I just saw? Not my imagination. So you're going to do that for all sides. And now if you see, since I took that and cut the corners, when I go to fold this, I'm going to get a nice even fold and not bulky, because now I folded that over and it would be overlapping it. And when I fold, it would be thick. So I took care of that problem before I started. So again, now you just go and put a line down, lift it up, but you're lifting where your fingers are, where the cardboard is, lifting it and pushing with your finger before you even stick it. You're taking your finger and you're like making a crease along that cardboard so it gives it a straight line. Once you know that, then you're going to pull and fold. If you get a little wrinkle like I did, you can lift it up and just put it back down. Fold. If you get a little tear like I just did, don't rip it. Just put a little piece of glue like that. Just fold it. And we're going to be bordering it, so that's not even going to matter. But it's all fixed. See how nice and straight? Hello, Dan! All right. Now, so just continue on. And do that for all four sides. Same thing, creasing it before you stick, so this way you know you have it straight. And then just fold it over. Using the glue stick, you have time to pick it up if you do get a crease. So then work it down, because when you're doing a longer side, you will get a bubble sometimes. And you can use a credit card for it too, and then just tight. And again, you seeing how my folds and my corners are nice and perfect, and they lay flat. And if you didn't do that, you would have a bulky corner. So, and doing this, and why you leave the inch is because you obviously don't want to leave your cardboard out. So, it's getting your nice covered book. Now that you have this, also, you do that because you want to make where it's consistent, which is going to be pretty. Now, before you do anything, you're going to go and gently fold. And if you want, because of the fold, you could take your knife, if you have an X-Acto knife, or you can just take your scissors and kind of, don't go through it, but just score it where your bind is. Because otherwise you can get a bubble or you're going to tear. So just gently take your scissors where your bind is and just push down on the paper and the line, and it's kind of scoring it for you. And that way now when you go and bend, your paper will bend, and then just push to get that, to give you your crease on your paper now. Do that to the other side. And voila. And there's our little book. Now, I had this old vintage kit, so that's what I went with. So I went with this. Now, again, now we have this part. Now I want to, you don't have to. I want to leave a border around and cover that. So like I have my pattern that matches my outside, but I'm going to just leave like a thin row. So what I'm going to do is put this on here. And if you're not wanting to cut or feel safe cutting directly, take a pencil and just trace your book. But I'm fine. And with the junk journal, there's no way of it having to be perfect. There's no rhyme reason. It's your liking. Junk journals, there's people out there that literally make junk journals and just take pictures that they see in magazines and images and stickers and just put it in there, things that bring them happiness. And there's no reason to their journal besides that. And just that they like this paper and they put things in there. all the way to making a reason for your journal. Like Eric's making one, and anything he does this summer, if he goes to the movies or a park or whatever, he's going to put his little ticket stubs. So he's going to make a junk journal with his pages, and I'm going to show you how you're going to put an envelope in here real quick. That you can use it as a quick scrapbook for that year. You can use it where, like this one I'm going to use, I have a lot of things that are left over from my grandparents that they're singles. So, and small items that my mom passed down, because I made a scrapbook for each of my brothers and me to split our pictures. And I'm just going to put some tokens into this one. So that's why I kind of went the vintage. Now, I made it that size. So what you're going to do is, I'm just going to freehand this, like I said. But normally I would take my cutting board and just make straight lines, and I would take a ruler and just measure the size that I would want. You don't have to, so that's why I'm going to do this and not be a perfectionist tonight. Again, like I said, a junk journal, it does not have to be perfect. It's supposed to be wacky and full of things and beautiful pages, and some just are decorative pages in it. Others, you could put a picture in it. It's not meant to be full and like a picture album. So again, there we go. So I just thought I'd do that. So you're going to just glue it in, and then you're going to do the same thing. So that's going to be your inside. And I know it's not straight. I'm not worried about that tonight. Take your scissors again before you're folding so you don't get your paper to crease, like, so you can kind of see it, but it will fold neater. You can bend it up a little. Just gently take your scissors, and go straight down with it. Gentle. You're basically scoring it. You're not cutting it. See, because now that's then a bit bubbled. So if it does, you can just take your finger and push it in and fold. And it's just giving it a bind. And use your finger. You can use your finger too, or you can get your ruler and stick it in there and fold your book. All right. Now the next part's pretty simple and easy. What we got to do. And then I'm going to show you a couple other little techniques quick. And then you're going to be on your own, guys. So this is cool. You can make a recipe book too. That's the other thing I've done. You can put it this way. All your recipe cards that you have for your house. And, put them on recipe cards. Then you just bind up the top. And I'll show you how you attach them in. And then you can put them this way. I have some cool things that I want to start showing you kind of with cardboard that you can make that you see that are expensive. And I have made them and it's come out better. I've made stands to hold my recipe. There's a spear that you could make that's really cool. I thought Eric would want to do, but he didn't. All right, I think we're done with this iron. So let me unplug this. My paper is getting darker down there. All right. I'll put that down there. Now, and I think this coffee, so we don't spill it. Put that over there. And I'll keep this coffee for a couple of days because I know I'll probably do some more on my own. So that's why it's in a container with the lid. So there's nothing, I brewed a little extra because I didn't know what Eric was going to do. So, all right. Let me move this so I can bring over my sheets, guys. I got some pearls. I don't need that. All right. Put those up there. I don't want to knock the coffee drains over. All right. So basically, you got your paper, utensils. And I said to keep these and the little strips. We're going to show you what I'm going to do with those in a minute. Oh, that's cool. This one got a watermark on it. Probably when I sat something down on it. but it just made it different. All right, so those are that. These are some pretty decals that we're going to add in. I actually seen online someone doing a book that had these exact kind of like pattern things, and the junk journal was so expensive. All right, those are all. I even have like these. I didn't do it, but I could do it on a piece of paper, an oval or a picture frame, and darken it out. And then that section, and I would put the photo, a smaller photo in that section, and then it would be dark and then go out light. So you have that type. That's a cardstock one. So these are all ones that I did earlier. Now, obviously my book is small, so I don't obviously need, they're not going to fit. What I'm going to do is take one, which I think that is going to fit. Basically, it does the cardstock, so I'm going to make a template. It does hang out, so I'm going to cut it because you don't want your pages hanging. So what I'm going to do is line it up to one of the lines of your fold. And you're going to cut it. Got it. I started it. If you can cut straight, go for it. A ruler or your board. So once you make a template, now we know the size, and you don't have to keep doing it every time for all the pages. Because you need it to be folded, you're going to open it up. It should be basically the length, I'm guessing, kind of. So out of this one sheet, I can get 2. So I'm going to fold my paper in half. And I'm going to do that for most of them, because I'm not going to sit here and cut each one out, obviously. And again, say it didn't matter, because I knew I was making a little one, if my edges broke. But we're also going to add something else in here. So once we cut this and fold it, we're going to have to fold them again. So then that's going to be an easy part. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That makes 10 pages. So let's do that, because then we're going to have a couple other pages. So what I'm going to do is I folded these. You can get a binder clip if you want and bind them so that they stay completely straight if you have a hard time holding them. Just make sure that they're all together. Take your template you made and put it right up to that corner. Make sure you're not cutting off the folded line. You want to cut off the non-folded, because then that will be a big boo-boo. And then just go and hold that tight in there and cut them that size. And you don't want to do more than 10 sheets at a time, or because then when you cut paper, they never make them. You end up with some that, that you can't. So you just trim that. So the thicker it is, it's harder. So just do a couple at a time, but it's better than doing, one at a time. So, and you can see that it happens even that I'm doing now, but you get most of that up, and then you just go back and just trim it up. Okay, so now see how quick and easy? I got my pages, and we're going to put that up. Scrappy's over there. Now, you could just do the old paper that you aged. Or you can, but the only trick with this is that you're going to have a white side when you do this. So I have tons of little vintage kind of papers. This was all in a kit, so they kind of go together. I even have little vintage letters if I want to write something in there or whatever. But I'm thinking, you know, I want to throw a couple printed pages in here. So I like this green one. We went with the burgundy before, so how about we throw that burgundy in there? We got stripes. We got a little peachy color. I think we're going to stick with the florals because, you know, you can go back and do the zigzags. And I think those will look nice matched in. I don't think I want to do the florals. Yeah, why not? We'll throw that in there. All right. So I'm going to do that. With these, though, because you have the white side, let me see if this piece of paper, here's my template. No, that one's going to be too short. See if I go this way. That one will work. What you're going to do is you're going to have to fold this in half. Because if you don't want the white, and you're going to have to just glue it down. So this way, both sides are, let me just move that, are the same pattern. That's the only thing when you use a scrapbook paper that is one-sided. So you're not going to get as many as I did out of that other sheet. But if you don't mind, you go for it and keep the white. But I want to throw these solid sheets in here. So you're just going to glue that. And then you have now it on both sides. And just take your template again. And make it the size that is just of your template. So there's that. There's my pile. So my pile there. And it can be a little smaller. Doesn't matter. With this, let's see. All right, I'm not going to be fussy right now. What I'm going to do is fold these three. Usually I'm one that will make sure how many I can get out of each and try to use as less paper space so I can use the scraps for other things. But I'm not going to worry about that right now. Glue stick. My glue stick wants to hide with me. You can use regular Elmer's glue, but I would use a paintbrush and paint it on your paper so you don't sop it, because then otherwise you're going to have soggy paper. Guys, it's like it was just right here. My phone died. I got to flip the laptop. I heard it. My template. Okay. Let's rock this out so I can show you how we're going to pin it. So go back here and glue it. You don't have to go all the way to the edge because obviously we're trimming it. So just glue that so that it's folded. So it's double-sided now. All right. There we go. And then I'm going to put those three together and take my template again. Because that was a half a piece. I didn't have to cut that off. So that kind of worked. So don't you go nowhere. While I'm doing that, let's see. Ooh. Hello, Lisa Ann. Yeah, Lisa, we started at 6:30. I was wondering where you are. There's some cool things in the beginning with your kids that you might like with the rubbings for sensory. that we did. All right, so don't mind my messy table. I just came over here to check the chat. I'm cutting these up. And then the cool parts. And again, like I said, save your little scrappies. Let me show you what you're going to do with those real quick. All right, there we go. That's better. And even your vintage paper, if these, I'm not going to do it, but the paper beads that I showed you, if you want just some plain colored, like beige beads, you can use those scraps to roll into some paper beads for the kids. Get my scrappies out of here that we need. All right. So we got leftovers from the paper. I got some pearls here. These are my samples. All right. So now I'm going to take all our sheets of paper and we're going to arrange them in between, that's our template, our solid sheets. So, and then we got to open them up. So now we want to take all our pages and put them inside each other. And like I said, if you have some ripped edges, it's a vintage old book I was trying to make. I could even burn those up if I wanted to. It's okay. It gives it character. That was the whole point, So I wanted it vintage with different edges. So you're going to open them up. Oh, guys, wait a minute. What did I do? What did I do? Oh, I know what I did. I didn't finish it. I forgot. We're making a small one. So then once I did that, that's right. Now we got to fold them. We need our paper smaller. Wasn't sure what I was doing size. All right. So now we're going to fold these in half to make our size for the book. That's right. Because I opened the template size. Then we're going to do the step I was trying to show you. So we could do that with these. Those are really pretty together to give us some character. And then these, what we need to do is put them together and slice them in half. Because then that's going to give us this size. But I was saving myself on the trouble of cutting each one out. If I think I have a ghost tonight, because I know I took the scissors. I was using them. They're not in there. Here, scissors, scissors, scissors. And I only walked over there. And, oh, I see them there. Oh, my head wasn't on. I would lose it tonight. Ooh. And it's hot in here, guys. It's hot. Okay. All right, so we're going to cut those straight down. Go right down at where they were creased. Bam. And then fold them. And you also kind of want different edges. That's the other thing I meant to do, why I'm also doing it. It gives it, when you're doing a junk journal, it's not about perfection. So you kind of want your, you don't need them to be perfectly straight. You kind of like your edges to be out. If you want them straight, go for it. I do them both ways. This one's more vintage, so I'm kind of not caring. I want it, because I might at the end, when my things are there, I'm going to just take up my lighter and burn the edges off. So anything that's kind of hanging over is going to get a little singe. It's going to just, to give it character. And then it will kind of make it a little even if you do it right. I mean, I cleaned them up a little, but you don't have to. So now you got all your paper together. So what we got to do is wherever you want, you're going to take all your white page, your blank, in together. And now we got 4. So I'm just going to take it and stick them in between every couple pages. Put that one here. And that one here. So now, when you have your book, when you flip through, you don't have just all white. You have some colored in there. And those white pages aren't going to be white in a minute. So, I'm going to show you just a couple of things so that I can show you how to attach this. And show you a few things that I have that you can add to it. And then you can, it's going to take time and you just do whatever you want. The little pieces that I told you to save, now you can cut thinner. You can use it, well, these are skinnier. You can go back through your book on your white pages and add it to the top like that for a border to make that page different. You could add it right in the middle to give that page something different. That's why I said save your paper, because now it's going to match, obviously. Any of those are the same pages that we used in the book. So now you're going to dress up your sheets. So I did that. You're going to do that. Then I have, like I said, all these. Oh, what's fun and I didn't do is I have an envelope stencil. But that's going to be too big for this book. But I have that mini one. And I did have a mini one. I don't know where my mini envelope went. But you could do a mini envelope in here so you have a pocket to put things in. So one page you can glue the mini envelope, the back of it. Or you can punch a hole in the envelope top. And attach it with that into the book. I just like to glue them in, and then you have little pouches in here. You can take a sheet of paper and cut it. That's high enough. I know I just did that wrong, but wait a minute. I cut it too short. If you don't want to make an envelope or you don't know how, you can take a piece of paper to a line of glue on each end only. Go back to one of your pages and line it up. Oh, wait, I forgot. You gotta do the bottom too. Leave the top unglued. And then line it up with your page. If it hangs over, just trim it. And now you have a pocket. Well, when it dries. And then you could slide things in and out. So you can make a pocket. And then I had these little things that says photo prop. But this is a sticker. These are stickers. So I can go over here. Now I added that. Now my other page, I have all these cute little tiny stickers. I think these are actually, what are these? These are little stickers. So I got 4 of those. So they don't want to come off. And there's ones that are for the corner. I can go onto my other page that's blank. And this one say I just want to do that. I just want to put a sticker in each 4 corner. I lost one. I'll find it in a minute. It stuck to me and fell off. It's probably on me. So I would do that. We got a little butterfly. We got a little birdie. These are the sticker types. So maybe on this page with the 4 corners, oh, I forget. I'm going to put that at the top. And then maybe I want to just put a little note there to go in my book, a memory, or a photo. But you're going to go through all your pages. And that's why also I put the colored pages in here. Then I don't have to dress every page up. But I can, like I said, make them little envelopes, little pocket pages. So always save your scraps because that's going to help you make borders and different designs if you don't want the stickers. That one had letters. This kit had in here that they're like the stickers, but they're paper. So I would have to trim it. One says happy birthday or celebrate, or they have little tags. There's little feathers. There's a vintage stamp. And so you do the same thing like a sticker, where you just cut it out and glue it in there. So I have all those types. There's more beautiful butterflies. These aren't cut out. These pop out. This came with tons of different. Wait, are these pop overs? Oh no, these are stickers. So now I got little baby butterfly. So you can do a butterfly up in the corner on there. So you're going to do your book whatever you want. I mean, there's really cool. This one says, I love you. There's some flowers. These have really pretty vintage things. But this kit was awesome where they gave you multiple of the same sheets for those. There's tags if I want to just do that in my book to give it some character. Like I said, I have other stencils. My envelope stencil broke, but I also have a mini one. And you can do that. So I'm going to go back and decorate all my pages and use them, fill it up. And then I'm also going to decorate my front. So you could add a pouch. You could add the envelope, as many colored pages as you want. You can add, if these matched, little rhinestone studs. You find the color that will match. But to attach, now, you can do it multiple ways. Some people like to get a needle and sewing thread or bookbinding thread. Oh, wait a minute. If you want to add, you can add lace, vintage, whatever. Vintage like lace or these pearls. These I think is kind of thick, so I would probably take 2 rows off because you could cut this, and so it would be about like up here. And I think you can add a trim to your front of your book. So that's what I'm going to do, or some lace. Now you can get multiple ways that you can bind this into this book. There's actually kind of 3 ways, but I'm going to show you the way. I think that's going to be easier. I'm going to make sure that you get it in the same spot. So you can get a needle and thread, and you could poke a hole, little pinhole, all along the seam, and have 2 at the top and 2 at the bottom. And then you thread it through, and you would do the same to your cardstock. And then basically you're sewing it into your book. Or if you're doing it with kids in easy way. What was my ribbon? Oh. It's right here. I couldn't find a certain color. I didn't know what I was doing, so I bought up blue. Oh, that's the green. Baby blue for me. It's not really going to match, but it's what I got to show you. I find my end. Now, like I said, you could do this multiple ways. If you weren't using a hard cardstock, you could basically just, that's still green, bring it up and tie it, and it will hold your book together. Or you could do that with the card stock, so then you're going to have a blue line on the outside. So Eric took them off the rolls, so now I got a big old mess. There's the baby blue. So I'm going to do it this way, but then what you could do is get a hole punch. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not looking at the comments. And we could do this real quick. I had a feeling that one was going to break. All right, so that one, it's been on the fritz. I knew it before. All right. So you would basically put a hole punch here and here. And then you're going to put a hole punch in your bind. And then you would obviously put them together and you would feed your ribbon through the hole on each side and leave it flat and bring it on the back, and then you could tie it and have a bow here. Or you could tie a knot and just have a knot and bring it up to the top. But since my hole punch broke and all my other ones are downstairs, we're going to do it. It's basically the same way, but when you do it with the holes, it secures it. So, did you guys like that? It went snap. I did. That's what I've been using. I have all different ones with decorations. So we're going to do it the simple way to show you. Oh, I lost you guys again. No problem, guys. All right. So let's just get this book tied up. Oh, there's my other sticker. I got it. Hold on. No, it's stuck to my carpet. I'll have to get it off here. All right. So you're going to just take your ribbon, lay it right there in the middle, bring it around, and tie. Pull as tight as you can. The only way I don't like this is that you can't slide your pages up. That's why I don't do it this way. But you can. It's something that's just going to sit and not be, Just bring it to the middle. And for now, that's what I'm just going to do. And it will just cuff it around. The only thing is, like I said, it makes it a more round. Fold it. So when you do that, let's start folding them. But it's one way to secure it, that if you're not sure how to bind and or have a hole punch and you're just trying to do something quick, you can do that. It will secure your pages, definitely. And then you have your little book. So that's one way, and get your pages in there, and it won't, and then you have your ribbon. You can make a cute bow on the outside. Ooh. I'd fix it up, but you could do that. And then, like I said, now you got your cover. You kind of have, I don't know if this is too vintage, but it's definitely retro or a different era. It's not my cup of tea. But then, like I said, like pages like this, it's not too late. This one's kind of torn. I just go through, just make sure you don't set your book on fire. And let it burn a little. And it's ripped right there, so basically let that burn. That's what I'm saying. See? And it just gives it a little character in your book. So you can go around and play with it in pages and any spots, because I think it looks better than leaving that where it looks like, oh, it ripped. I would just run through it. It tightens that up. And then it makes it look like it's weathered and old and aged. So that's just a way to use a cereal box, guys. A way to, a little book, an album, a photo album, something that came from your heart, that your kids can make for their teachers for the end of the year. basically anything that you want to put a memory in. So I think I said I had these flowers here, guys, real quick. It's the only flower stickers I have. Oh, there's a feather. And oh, these are cool. Oh, look at the little birdie. All right, this is what we're going to do on my front. Now we're going to say our goodbyes. So to decorate my front, I think I like my little birdie down in the corner. I'll put these. Oh, no, wait. Oh, yeah, that's right. I'm not going to put the I was going to put some pearls, but I can do that on another one. Just to add something different. So there's my front cover. I don't know what that is. It looks like a little stone, I guess. There's buttons and pearls, but I think let's do the feather. That says I love you. We'll put it on there. Put it on an angle, give it character. And that's the thing too with junk journals. Basically, more is less in the size of piling on and grouping, they say. So, I like simplicity sometimes when I do things. But go for it, enjoy, and, let's see. Got a little butterfly over here. So, I think we're going to angle that butterfly like right there. And then I don't know what these are. I think they're buttons. But, because I've had this kit for years. It was never my cup of tea of looking at them. I didn't know what to do with it. And I've been wanting to show you guys how to junk journal and dye paper. So, I said, woo-woo, there we go. And so then I just added those in there. But you pile it up. You could do a big fancy cover. I've done these for years. I've done one with a storybook. I printed out all these stories. And I'm trying to think of the name, and I forgot. But my mom did daycare. God rest his soul. He passed away at 19 a couple years ago. And he was one of my hearts. I loved him. He was a ring bearer. And his little boy was amazing. And I babysat him at night. And he loved this cartoon. And it was something with lions, and it told story. It was a cute thing. And I went and I printed out all these stories that they had online because they had an activity page, and I turned it into a book for him. And I put them all in there. And I decorated the whole front, and I put fabric, and I did a baby book for him too, where I put fabric and I made it plushed out with all the lace. And they're just fun little things with your own touch. And the cardboard is just, like I said, it's thin enough for you to cover. And you can make any size, anything you like. So, that's the junk journal. I had to do the cover, right, guys? I had to show you the cover. But I will probably, take this off and reinforce it. And obviously, I'll get a different, I don't really care for the blue. But, to match. But that's what I had up here. Because I originally, like I said, I was going to do a rock and roll one, but I didn't have all the stickers. So I had started this one with the pink flames. I think that one will be really cool. So there's another style. So, thank you. Hello, Fire Clan 34. Hi, Justin. All right, guys. Well, we're almost live for 2 hours. I hope you enjoyed it. I had fun with that. Hope you take some ideas, make your own book. And we'll see you next time on Wednesday at game night, I guess. So if you have any questions or would like to know any of these techniques, please just send me an email and I'll help you. Keep crafting, and we'll see you Wednesday. Good night, everyone.